15-lap race, 40-minute time window, and these drivers getting set to go. And all D-Force front row. Joining me in the booth, we'll bring him in a bit here, is Jack Jeffers, the winner of the USF Juniors race. We'll have some insight from him on track conditions, what it's like to be in the car. All 19 of these drivers are going to feel it for themselves right now. They'll come out of turn number 20, and it's time to go racing here in Texas. Again, Clark on the inside, Porto on the outside. 19 drivers in USF Pro 2000. Only 5 more races left on the docket, and we're at it. Green, green, green. The race up to turn number 1. Defensive bottom line there for Matt Clark. He's going to make sure he can't hold off Nikita Johnson. They'll go side by side. Big run around the outside with all that extra room there for Miles Rowe. And I think Kiko Porto able to get the spot coming down the hill. Indeed, Porto holding the outside of the position will grab that spot. Rowe thinking about trying to make a move now to the inside of Clark, but thinks better of it. More side by side further back between Zendelli and I believe that's Salvador de Alba. Escoto's showing a nose to the inside there as well, and they are now underway as they'll climb their way up through the 3 to 10 corners. Again, back up over the quick little rise here, and again, the lineup has Porto with the lead, and not surprising, you can make that move stick from the outside if the driver on the inside has to be defensive. It takes a while to get back on the throttle coming out of 1. Escoto going to look to the inside, and Zendelli, in fact, he's going to look to the inside of everybody, the Escoto to the bottom. How does that work? As he threw it to the inside of Salvador de Alba, stacked everything up further back, and here's your field. Here goes de Alba. He's going to go to the outside again. It's Escoto on the outside. The middle of the sandwich there is Zendelli, and I believe to the inside comes de Alba. Look at this. They're going to really work it here. Outside, inside, that's one of the Pabst cars. I think that's Denmark to the outside. And in comes Miller Vinatieri Motorsport driver Jack William Miller as well. Missing right in there. And it's the outside getting hung out to dry, the 91 of De Alba. He's trying to hold the spot. I think he'll get a better run here on Missing and finally be able to lock down that position. But wow, a ton of action early. No, there's a dive bomb move to the inside. 3 drivers collected. And we're definitely going to go full course yellow here. Someone making a dive bomb move to the inside of, I can't remember what turn that is. And it's going to be Missing on his teammate. Teammate on teammate crime. Jordan Missing to the inside. I don't know if it was actually Denmark that he got into, but that's a couple of Pabst racing cars that are knotted up pretty good. There was 3 drivers kind of involved. One was able to pull away. No doubt that race control will let them race here for a little bit. Very likely up through turn number 1. We may go yellow here once they get up there, but just enough to finish off this last lap. Again, chaos there as Missing tried to make a move up to the inside. Not able to make that corner. Porto leads across the line. We are full course yellow. So take a breather, everybody, because that was a wild opening lap. Everybody diving for positions. We saw Escoto get aggressive. Obviously, we know that Missing was on the hammer there trying to work his way forward. But here's how it shakes down. Porto, your leader across the line. Clark second, Rowe third. Nikita Johnson 4th, Escoto 5th, Liram Zendelli in 6th, Jack William Miller 7th, Frankie Mossman 8th, Francesco Pizzi and Michael D'Orlando rounding out the top 10. Denmark and Missing do not come back to the line. Of course, they're stranded. Both cars damaged. Lucas St. Jean falling to the tail of the field, and Salvador de Alba, who started up in 6th, got roughed up. I think de Alba was the driver on the outside there. We saw him on the way to the outside. It was actually Denmark on the inside, and that's how things kind of shook out there. He kind of was able to get all the way around. Luckily for de Alba, I don't think any damage. But the bottom line is, that was a breathing one. Hey, yeah, we're going to get the replay. So check it out. That's de Alba on the inside, Missing on the outside with the lighter end plate. So de Alba's going to hung to the outside. This is Missing making a dive bomb move. Yeah, Missing went hardcore to the inside. We'll run this back. So again, as they come out of that corner, Missing's going to try to get to the inside of de Alba, goes deep, but not able to woe the car up, drives right into the right rear of Jace Denmark. Can't say that I want to be in the debrief room after this race here for that one at Pabst Racing. Good time to bring in Jack Jeffers. Jack, come on in here. Let's not worry about the wreck itself first. Let's talk first as we see the cleanup underway now with the AMR USF Pro Safety Team. Let's first talk about you getting another win. You're 3rd on the season. Number 1, you're a Texan from San Antonio, so you win at your home circuit. Let's start with that. You've watched a lot of Formula 1, other races here. Not only do you get to race here, you get to win here. Tell me how that feels.
It feels really special, and it's been a dream of mine for a long time now, so to win here is definitely a dream come true. And check on the something on the bucket list.
That's indeed right. Check mark that one off. Let's talk about the fact that the race you qualified on pole. That was another check mark. You know, you got out of the gate strongly. You end up getting passed by Max Taylor, but you settled in. You went back to third at one point, but it seemed like you weren't in a rush. You weren't impatient. You were able to get back. Even when Jimmy Lockhart made that move on you, you didn't go crazy and try to block it or defend it. You kind of let him go through and opened up your hands a little bit. Talk about your thought when that was happening.
I knew I had the best car for the long run. Our long run pace has been good through practice, so I knew our car would be good at the end. So it's about just making slow, consistent, good moves past Jimmy and not lose a lot of time to Max, and slowly just hunt down Max, because it's really hot here in the track. It's hard on the tires, so if you overheat your tires, you can definitely lose performance at the end of the race. So it's about just making small gains up to Max and then eventually planning a move on him.
We're going to come back and talk about that later in this race when we think about how the tires are going to handle here with more horsepower, more downforce, everything here in the USF Pro 2000 category. Max had pulled away a little bit there, but you were kind of able to reel him back in. Were you just faster, and then did it happen once you got to the draft? Like, how far back is the draft, you think, start to come into play in terms of time?
Probably 5 to 6 cars back is when the draft starts coming into play, but it really doesn't take into full effect until you're 3 cars back.
Okay, all right. So the move at the end, were you waiting for a couple laps? It felt like a go-kart thing for me. You guys were kind of in tow. I knew it was going to happen sooner or later. Did you plan it for a particular lap, or were you just waiting for that big run out of turn 20?
I was waiting for that big run out of turn 20, and turn 1's probably the best passing opportunity on this track because it's so wide and there's so much room. And I knew I wanted to be leading going to the last lap, so I knew I had to get ahead of him, and I just was able to make the move down the inside of turn 1.
So you were watching this here. Obviously, that opening lap was pretty crazy. We've seen, to be honest, I want to say that USF Juniors has probably been the best and cleanest racing. It's probably not what we expected, but you guys have had a lot of green to checker races this year. That was green to checker. Overall, what did you think of that last lap, guys, getting super aggressive like that?
Obviously the first lap's a good opportunity to make up a lot of positions, and obviously you're racing for a race win here. But doing that aggressive move in that kind of a corner, there's risk to it. So I don't think it was the smartest move personally. But, again, I get the aggression and I get what everybody's mindset is.
It's funny you say that because I've talked a lot about it coming into this weekend, that the mindset is totally different. If you're in a championship battle like you are, you have you had an outside chance essentially coming in to win a title. You needed to have something happen to Giafoni. But for other drivers who haven't won yet, you want to finish that season strong. I know that's for you, right? You've told me already today that you're trying to finish. You want to dominate this weekend, so people know who Jack Jeffers is for next year. For guys like Jordan Missick was trying to get a race win. He was trying to get himself forward. Is that a mindset thing? You think everybody comes in with a different focus on the weekend?
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't think Jordan's in the championship hunt. So he definitely wants to get that first win. He definitely, he wants to do it for himself and for the team, and for everybody who's backing him. So yeah, he's
had a really good year. Jordan Missick, of course, that was just again early on making a move, and it just didn't quite work. Salvador de Alba, let's see, he's still on the racetrack, which is good. Happy to see that he's still out on track. So I wondered whether or not there was potential contact with him, but he's okay right now. Again, as we said, folks, Kiko Porto up top, Matt Clark second, Miles Rowe, Nikita Johnson, and Ricardo Escoto. Top 5 drivers, 6th through 10 sees Liram Zandelli, Jack William Miller, Frankie Mosman, Francesco Pizzi, and Michael D'Orlando. Jonathan Brown runs 11th, Salvador de Alba back to 12th, but expect him to attack and work his way forward. George Garcia-Arce in 13th spot, Avery Towns 14th, Nicholas Montiero, Lindsey Brewer, and Lucas St. Jean rounding out the top 17. I wonder whether or not St. Jean may have been into pit lane for an adjustment, not quite sure. And being told that race control will have a look at that post-race. Obviously, to a certain extent, the driver who did make the error there, Jordan Missick, the penalty was already served, as we know, with the contact and those drivers finishing at the tail of the field. But still lots of laps to go, lots of time here. 15-lapper. They've got 3 in the books. If the incident's clean, we'll come back with 4 down. So still a long bit of racing still to go. A 40-minute time limit for the drivers here to put in their 15 laps. Again, as I had said before, racing for a scholarship worth over $664,000. And we do want to take an opportunity here today to say hello and again, once again, welcome all the students from UTI Austin. They were here today as part of the Discount Tire STEM program. I had a chance to actually take them by the exclusive Autosport team. I know that the guys were all busy, that Jack and the team were busy, but we had a chance to do a tour of the cars, so they got a chance to see those USF Juniors cars up close and personal. And again, if you want to be part of the nation's largest pit crew, visit discounttire.com to learn more about career opportunities throughout the United States Discount Tire is the official tire retailer of the USF Pro Championship, presented by Cooper Tires. At Discount Tire, we know your time is valuable. Get a 30% shorter average wait time when you buy and book online. Visit discounttire.com today to schedule your appointment. You're from San Antonio, Jack Jeffers, and so is VP Racing Fuels. I actually talked to Bruce Hendel from VP Racing Fuels yesterday. They're our exclusive fuel supplier for all three levels of the USF Pro Championships. In 2021, VP expanded their role and became the official lubricant and coolant. In addition to VP Racing engine oil and VP Racing gear oil, this includes VP Racing's new line of Stay Frosty Performance engine coolants. Again, still yellow here right now. Not sure whether or not we're going to be going back to green. I would expect we likely will. No, lights are still on in the pace car. But again, Jack Jeffers, let's bring you back in. You are from San Antonio. Are you used to this heat? Let's be real. It is it's the surface of the sun here this weekend.
Yeah, no, this heat is definitely something to get used to. But I am sort of used to this heat. You know, I grew up karting here, so I'm used to having the suit and everything on and a helmet on. But it's definitely something you need to get used to if you're not from Texas. And
it's tough. We'll come back and talk to Jack about that a little bit. His feelings from being inside the car for a full distance run. Green to checker again for the drivers here in USF Juniors. We got a yellow in the opening lap for contact between a couple of drivers, Jordan Missig and Jace Denmark, on the opening lap of USF Pro 2000. Lights out on the pace car, we're told, so we're going to be going back to green. And again, one of the things about this racetrack is it can get pretty hectic on a restart. We've seen it before, the big climb up the hill. Jack talked about the fact in his pass on Max Taylor that it's wide open. There's a lot of different angles that you can take. You can defend, you can over-under. And so I'm sure everybody will kind of play off what Kiko Porto does, but Kiko getting the job done on the opening circuit as Matt Clark was trying to, of course, lead from pole, but with the kind of an aggressive move to the inside for Nikita Johnson behind him, filling those mirrors. Mac was down to the bottom of the track, and the more shallow your entry means it's going to be a lot tighter corner. Trying to get through, the tighter the corner, the more you got to woe it up. So he had to woe it up enough that Kiko Porto was able to run the rail and take it around the outside and grab that lead. He almost, to be honest, Matt Clark almost lost second spot from the 99 as well, Miles Rowe. So indeed, here they come back again to put lap number 4 in the books. So we'll still have 11 to go. Kiko's going to try to stack them up as he often does, coming through turn number, right back on the throttle. Quick turn in onto the throttle, and we are rolling. And Matt Clark trying to stay right on the gearbox. They did a good job. I think they caught Miles Rowe off a little bit, probably 2 to 3 car lengths. That was a great opportunity there because, of course, drivers further back with wheel in the car couldn't get back on the throttle. So a great job there for the number 12. But here comes Matt Clark on the outside of the 7. Again, you got to think that Clark's going to kind of take care of Kiko a little bit here, although Mac would like to grab a race win. Kiko looking to try to lock down P2 in the championship. And indeed, Kiko, a former USF 2000 champion, has really been one of the stars of this program over the years. Was 16 years of age when he won that USF 2000 championship, and he really has blossomed. Great to see him run at the road course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Indy Next car for Cape Motorsports. He'll be back in Indy Next again at Laguna Seca, I believe, with Cape Motorsports. Ahead of what we expect to be a full season of Indy Next racing for the Brazilian Kiko Porto next year. Looks like we have a move, I think, indeed, the number 17 of Nikita Johnson able to make a move on Rowe. We saw him go side by side up the hill into turn number 1, and Nikita eventually getting by. So Nikita Johnson goes into third. You can see Rowe back there in fourth. Great shot of the full field from our drone shot coming down that back straightaway into turn number 12. Here comes Jack William Miller. He's going to make a move as well on a Scoto. I believe that'll be for, I think, P5, unless Zendelli was able to get by as well. Indeed, so that's going to be for P6. Zendelli already by a Scoto. That's actually the number 6 in there, Frankie Mossman. So that's a pass by Mossman. Pardon me, that's for 7th and 8th, I believe, battling it out there. There are a couple of Jay Howard cars out there this weekend. Ricardo Scoto and Frankie Mossman. Mossman running in the F4 series this year. Ran a USF 2000 race last year, I believe, in Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course. Currently running 8th spot for Mossman. Let's see how things are going to shake down here. Let's get that first lap in the books. Watching these drivers try to keep inside that line. Folks, we haven't, I don't think I brought this up yet in this particular broadcast. We talked about it quite a bit in USF Juniors. Only one part of this racetrack where the series is looking at for track limits, and that is coming out of turn number 19. You see the first white line, and then you'll have the rumble strips, and then the red strip, and then a white strip. At that point, you're allowed to go over the rumbles, and you're allowed to go over the white, but your left side tires in turn number 19 have have to stay on the track side of that white line. Jack, how tough was that? Did you get close a couple of times? I know that I'm talking to a couple of drivers. As you get over top of the rumbles there, the car wants to kind of skate a bit to the right. Did you have any close calls potentially on track limits?
Oh, a lot of close calls
Okay.
in turn 19.
All right. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, the car gets very, very light over that curb, and it can definitely send you a bit wide, and it's scary. It truly is scary.
And indeed, I can imagine. The last thing you want is to get that call coming from race control. Things are kind of settling in here right now, and Kiko Porto is out nicely. And again, if we talk about the championship right now, Kiko Porto coming in 81 points behind Miles Rowe. Miles can't secure it here because there's still 4 races to go. One tomorrow morning, and then 3 more at Portland. So there's a lot of points still up for grabs. Rowe would have to literally have a couple of DNFs to open the door for any of these drivers to kind of come in and play, because when you look at the actual championship points, you go further back, we have 19 drivers. If you finish dead last here, 19th is only 2 points. So the battle right now is for Liram Zendelli making a big move down the inside. Is that Zendelli? No, that actually might be Pizzi going to the inside of Mossman, and here comes Michael D'Orlando as well. Mossman's going to take a peek to the inside. No. Thinks better of it. That's coming back through turn number 13. Look at this. There's D'Orlando. He's up on Mossman as well. Watch for D'Orlando. Mossman's going to run down the inside. D'Orlando trying to set up the over-under. All these drivers fighting it out. Behind D'Orlando was Jonathan Brown in the Turn 3 Motorsports car as well. D'Orlando, of course, last year's USF 2000 champion, and he has been strong, really come on strong in the second half of the season. 3 wins, another podium, making 4 podiums, but a 20th at Road America, and after that contact with Christian Weir coming to the green flag, put him 20th, and then an issue in Toronto as well in the second race hindered him from battling essentially for the top 3, which are Kiko Porto and Salvador de Alba. 4th place in points, Joel Grandforth, the Swedish driver, not here this weekend, electing to shut down the 2023 campaign to focus on 2024. There's the move for D'Orlando to the inside of turn 1. Book it. He is through. So move Frankie Mossman now back into the 10th spot. It's Porto, Clark, Johnson, Rowe, Escoto, top 5. Zendelli runs 6th. Jack William Miller 7th. Pizzi, D'Orlando, and Mossman 8th, 9th, and 10th. Drivers getting into it. 6 laps in. We'll start hitting it hard here now. Still a ways to go, as we know, 15 laps. Jack Jeffers, let's go back to him. Winner already today in USF Juniors, trying to see if he can't win some more races here tomorrow. Jack, let's talk about the actual conditions driving the car. These guys are going a bit quicker than you, but very similar in terms of everything that's going to be happening. How hot was it in the car? I know you're breathing hot air the entire time. You do have breeze coming through, but just talk a little bit about how it was physically to drive a car for you guys, 12 straight laps.
It's physically challenging, very physically challenging. The hot air we're breathing, you start breathing through your mouth a little bit because your nose might get a little stuffy and all. But physically, your arms and your forearms, especially through the S section, take a real toll. And 12 laps straight, it's definitely hard on you. So you see whoever's the most fit in our class definitely can stand out at the end of the race.
Yeah, which drivers are in the gym and getting the job done, doing some sauna work, whatever it may be. This guy's on the move right now. Salvador de Alba is working his way back forward, getting by Jonathan Brown. Remember, he had the issue. He was kind of the driver who got hung out to dry with the contact between Missig and Denmark, and that put him way back. He's been able to fight his way forward. He qualified in 6th position, did Salvador de Alba. He is now by Jonathan Brown, and will go to work seeing if he can't reel in Frankie Mossman next. So de Alba, who, again, remember, 3rd place in points right now. Michael D'Orlando only back by 9 points from de Alba, and I think another maybe 14 in total from Pizzi. So at this point, Salvador de Alba scrapping hard to see if he can't get himself into a fight, at least to hold on to 3rd. Right now, I don't know that he's even going to be looking. He's not that far back behind Kiko Porto, but the D-Force cars are very good here this weekend. But it still leaves Portland, and we know how good the exclusive cars have been in Portland over the last couple of years. Louis Foster, of course, the champion in this category last season. Picking up the number 17 in Nikita Johnson. What a tremendous drive it's been for this young kid. 15 years of age. Ran USF Juniors here last year. Was a winner in the USF Juniors program for VRD. Has already won, of course, on the season, winning at St. Petersburg in USF 2000. He's in the fight for the USF 2000 top 5 as well. And now finds himself really starring here alongside Matt Clark. And again, what we essentially call testing the waters, dipping your feet for 2024, getting a feel for what it would be like to drive these cars. And I'll tell you, if this is any indication what we're going to see out of both Matt Clark and Nikita Johnson, both these drivers could be championship contenders in 2024. Field looking good. You can see they're spread out kind of decently here right now, equally spaced throughout most of the field. But we expect to see some drivers like Salvador De Alba pushing. Last time by, De Alba was, I want to say, almost a full second faster than Mossman. So watch that one. That could be a battle to watch a little further back as well. Watch this coming into the screen here. Boom, there we go. We got a Mossman and D'Orlando going at it. There is Salvador De Alba. He's on to D'Orlando. And he's going to go to the inside of D'Orlando coming through. Big move for De Alba. Book it. He's through. He's going to go to work on Mossman. But shout out to Frankie Mossman, who got back by D'Orlando. And I want to know if D'Orlando has an issue potential or just maybe caught out to dry because his teammate Jonathan Brown gets by as well. So we'll move Brown up another spot. Yeah, there's trouble, I think, potentially for D'Orlando because he's dropping another spot. Can't quite see who potentially got through there, but I think D'Orlando lost another position. Yeah. You can see he's falling back. He actually might be coming into pit lane. I think that's Lucas St. Jean that went by. I think we're gonna see him into pit lane. Take a look at the right side of the screen, and do we see the car tuck into pit lane? Here we do. So D'Orlando from 4th in points into pit lane. Something wrong with the car of the reigning USF 2000 championship. It's been such an up and down year. He has shown his pace, his talent, his skill to be able to win 3 races over the second half of the season. And indeed, D'Orlando winning, as I said, at Road America, at Mid-Ohio, and Toronto. So listen, those are 3 iconic venues, but it's those DNFs he's had, some issues he's had, some bad luck he's had that has taken him out of championship contention. Tough one for Michael D'Orlando, but definitely a benefit for a driver like Salvador De Alba, who's trying to lock down P3 in the championship. And De Alba working his way forward up into 10th now. He's going to go to work on Mossman. Not far up the road, 2.5 seconds is Francesco Pizzi, and we'll see what the speed is next time by. There's the battle there between Liram Zendelli going at it here with Ricardo Escoto. Zendelli right on the gearbox. Big run down there, trying to get it, see if he can get it done in 12. De Alba, the same thing, probably 3 or 4 car lengths behind Frankie Mossman now. We'll see if he rolls up. He qualified. De Alba qualified in 6th. Mossman qualified 11th. So outright speed. There's that shot there, as I believe, yeah, Zendelli able to get by Escoto. That's for 5th. So move Liram Zendelli up into now the 5th spot. Zendelli comes in 7th in points, but really not that far back. To be honest, he's only 31 points behind Porto in 2nd. So Zendelli not out of it. Remember, he did not run the Freedom 90 either at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So Zendelli has been very impressive his first year running here. He's got lots of experience coming through Formula 3 and, in fact, even some Formula 2 starts as well. Running for TJ Speed. Wonder if we'll see him back potentially next year. I'm sure he's eyeing the Indy Next program for 2024. We'd love to have him back here, but a driver a little older on the spectrum would love to get his way up into that, that one step away from the NTT IndyCar Series. Drivers across the line to put lap number 9 in the books. 9 down. So 6 more to go. 6 laps remaining. There's that battle further back, and great move to the inside for De Alba as he gets by Mossman. Salvador De Alba by Mossman to the inside. Frankie gave him just enough room, and Mossman wisely decided not to pinch it down. Again, Frankie here just trying to get some experience, potentially to run the full season next year, so no need, number 1, to make any enemies, no need, number 2, to get into an incident that would rob you of critical track time. Big issue there for De Alba as he tried to carry a ton of speed through, I believe, turn number 7, almost tossed it off the racetrack, but was able to hold on to it. Now he's got to settle things back up because that's the guy he's got to go chase down, Pizzi, as they're all lining up behind him now. It's De Alba, Mossman, Brown, and Garciarce right there as well. Jorge Garciarce. So that's a good battle there as well as they're trying to dig in. Behind them is Lucas St. Jean, not that far back. But this is, again, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th as they run on the racetrack down to 12. Mossman trying to use that toe to get back here up on De Alba. When they come back around, there'll be 5 to go. So we'll look at some lap times here as well to see whether or not we have anybody challenging. Nikita Johnson about a 10th quicker than Clark last time by, but he's 1.1 back. Rowe did a 2:04.6. Escoto had the trouble there. Looking Pizzi not quite there on Miller either. Miller got some gap on him, 1.1. So We'll see if De Alba's the guy to keep tracking on here as he's trying to get himself back up, but potentially into a top 5 position. But with 5 laps to go next time by, we'll see how it plays out. There's Pizzi. There's De Alba. Way off the track coming through turn number 19. Back onto the front straightaway. You wonder whether Salvador's having some trouble keeping that nose planted coming through the corners. He already went off, as we talked about, over in turn number 7. There's a lock up there, right in front of Zendelli. Miles Rowe, I think, locking it up there. De Alba 2:05.4 last time by. Mossman a 2:06.4, but that's when he got passed. Brown at 2:05.8. I think De Alba's the quickest of that group right now. There's the 6 of Frankie Mossman again, making his debut for Jay Howard Driver Development. We saw him with the Jay Howard team at Indianapolis last year in USF 2000. He runs with them in F4 as well this year. One-off program. I believe we'll see him at Portland, so maybe 2 races to end the season for Mossman here in this category, currently running in the 10th spot. Porto out front by 1.3 seconds, 1.1 from Clark back to Nikita Johnson. The top 3 drivers have got some room, and in fact, Miles Rowe, again, Rowe's thinking championship in my mind right now. Going to put down a nice 4th-place finish. He can really kind of cruise to the end here and lock this thing in. Could even lock it in tomorrow depending on what happens. But with Kiko Porto doing what he's doing right now, he's putting all the pressure on, which is key. If Porto can, obviously, number one, doesn't have fast lap of the race right now, but he does have the most laps led. So there's that bonus point. If he wins, it'll be 30. Add on the most laps. That's 31 points. And then you look back at 4th place running right now here for Rowe. That's 19 points. So, again, cutting into that gap. But with Rowe, knowing that he just needs to really get down to the final race with more than 33 points up, and he will secure in race number 2, because it's a triple header for USF Pro 2000 when we get to Portland. Let's bring Jack Jeffers back in. Jack, again, let's talk about tire deg now, because we're 10 laps into this here. You mentioned it very briefly about the fact that the tires potentially having a bit of trouble here and there. What were your thoughts on the tires? Are these guys going to have to worry about that, you think, near the final third of this race?
Oh, for sure. It's something that the leaders are probably looking out for right now, but the people further back are going to have issues with, and they're just going to lose tire performance. And yeah.
Did you find it, was it playing into any particular corner on the racetrack? Were there some of the corners where, man, you just kind of start to feel the car sliding maybe more than you normally would?
Definitely the S's, the second part of the S's,
yeah.
You had to tiptoe around a little bit more because your car would be a lot more loose there. And it's really just the exit of the tight corners. You wouldn't get the same drive off, but mainly the high-speed corners.
And then that drive off is what it takes coming out of turn 11 down to turn number 12. So we'll keep an eye on all these drivers. This is the fight again between Salvador De Alba and Frankie Mossman, the best battle on the racetrack at this point here. And in fact, Jonathan Brown digging in as well. He just turned his fastest lap. The Irishman does a 2:05.4 or 5:41, half a second quicker than De Alba last time by. So we got a couple different cars coming up into the fight and different teams as well. De Alba, of course, running for Exclusive. Mossman for Jay Howard. Jonathan Brown running for Turn 3 Motorsports. And George Garcia Arce running for D-Force Racing. So, again, 4 different teams. Guys all battling it out for these last couple of spots inside the top 10. 11 laps down, 4 to go. We're back at it first thing tomorrow morning again. It's the USF Pro 2000 drivers that will get things rolling in the morning, simply because we're back at it once again. When they go green flag at 8 o'clock first thing tomorrow morning, our broadcast likely starting sometime around 7:50 Central Time, because the teams here in USF Pro are going to pack up their stuff, get their gear packed, and drive 2,000-plus miles to Portland, because they're going to essentially hit the track or hit the road first thing as soon as they're packed up here at the end of the day, and they are driving across the country. It's interesting. We used to go to Gateway this weekend, and it was still 2,000 miles, almost the same distance from St. Louis to Portland as Austin to Portland. We just lose a day because at Gateway, of course, that oval event, we were done on the Saturday afternoon. You could pack up and hit the road. So they've essentially lost a day. So the truck drivers will be the heroes over the next couple of days as they try to get themselves out to Portland for the finale for USF 2000 and USF Pro. Porto across the line, 1.5 seconds the lead now over Mac Clark. And Mac's got to watch out because Nikita Johnson digging in. Although Mac Clark just turned the fast lap of the race, or turned the fast lap of the race rather on lap 8. Here on lap 12, both he and Johnson 2:04.1s. So right now, 8 tenths back. Nikita Johnson not done yet, thinking about trying to race after second. Porto out to a 1.5-second lead. This is Jonathan Brown, again trying to roll up on Frankie Mossman. Here's your leaders coming down into turn number 11. Porto, and then Clark. D-Force looking for a 1-2. There's your point leader right now. Miles Rowe in the Force Indy Pabst Racing number 99. Fast tracking with a focus on the Indy Next Series for 2024, as he is in a tremendous spot to win the championship. 81 points up. And every time he's finishing in front of those drivers that are behind him, he's pulling away a bit from Salvador de Alba, pulling away quite a bit from Michael D'Orlando, who's down in 17th. He's essentially out of the championship. And indeed, that's one thing. You're going to essentially start knocking guys out of the championship contention, even mathematically. Even if Miles wasn't able to go to Portland, there are drivers that are already mathematically impossible in terms of trying to catch him down. So that's what you're trying to do every race, knock more guys out of the peloton who are trying to chase you down. And for Miles Rowe, who we're following here now with the drone, he is hustling that Tatis machine around this racetrack and looking good right now. And again, he doesn't need to win. That's the key. He does not need to win every race. He does not need to put himself into precarious positions. All he's got to do is bring it home cleanly. This kid's putting on a show as well, just like Jack Jeffers was in USF Juniors, trying to put a show on, trying to kind of show everybody for 2024 that he's a force to be reckoned with. Nikita Johnson and Matt Clark, both these drivers looking great, and Nikita just 15 years of age, and wow, there's a bright future for the young Floridian as he continues to impress in all levels of the USF Pro Championships. 2 laps remain now for Kiko Porto. Clark with that fast lap bonus. Miles Rowe and Liam Zendelli turning their quickest laps. Last time by 2:04.2 for Rowe, 2:04.6 for Zendelli. 2:03 fast times for both of the D-Force drivers, Porto and Clark. Man, those guys are rolling right now, no doubt about it. Clark's definitely been one to watch. This is a huge story for Canadian motorsports. Little touch of the grass or the dirt there coming out of that corner there for Kiko. A lot of room though, but last year, Matt Clark came here to Texas and was able to lock down the USF Juniors Championship. Of course, get the scholarship to move up to USF 2000. But, you know, you think about the famous drivers, amazing Canadians who have run in open-wheel Formula Car racing. You go back to Gilles Villeneuve, of course, Jacques Villeneuve as well. But you look at a Greg Moore as well, who I think is one of the drivers that so many people kind of compare Matt Clark to. James Hinchcliffe, a mentor for Max, spends a lot of time with him and kind of guiding his way. I can tell you the Canadian racing is looking for that next Canadian hero. That's no doubt about it. Just like the Brazilians are looking for the next hero to get to the NTT IndyCar Series. That could be Kiko Porto, but Canada most definitely looking for one. And after that big win in that championship last year for Matt Clark, Inside Track Motorsport News put him on the cover of their monthly magazine. And tell you, that was huge for the young driver. I think really turned some eyes that there is a potential new Canadian star in open-wheel Formula Car racing. Could potentially get to the NTT IndyCar Series. There's a lot of great people behind Matt Clark right now. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do over the next couple of years. And to be honest, he's digging in right now, trying to close up the gap now, 1.3 seconds. I don't see him even trying anything on his teammate, though. Team orders, maybe no team orders. Let's just say you're being nice to your teammate right now, because Kiko Porto trying to hold on to second spot, and he will take the white flag this time by up into turn number 1. Jack Jeffers, what's it like to have a decent lead over the last lap, winning at a track like COTA?
It's nerve-wracking, and the nice thing about COTA is that it isn't like Road America where draft is like a lot. So Kiko having this nice gap, you know, he should be able to cruise, maybe not cruise, but he should be fine on his final lap as long as he has no sudden movements.
20 corners. Is there one where you can kind of start celebrating? Or is it coming out of 20?
I'd say the carrots, 16, 17, 18, you can probably start celebrating.
All right. We'll see if we see a fist pump coming out. Were you fist pumping around that part of the racetrack?
No, I was making sure I don't go off in turn 19 and get a penalty. So I started fist pumping after that.
That's what I was saying, man. I don't think I'd be celebrating until I got through 19. Like you said, you don't want to do that penalty from going track limits. But again, Jack Jeffers did a tremendous job. We'll cap off with him right before we go to Victory Lane, because Kiko Porto is getting ready to wrap this one up. And for the team based out of MSR Houston D-Force Racing, they have won some championships in their time. And, of course, Kiko Porto winning that USF 2000 championship for them as well. And this is a good run for this young driver, although he may not be able to win the championship. Again, like Jack, trying to finish the season off strong. We still have to go to Portland. We know that. But to have a big weekend here for Kiko and to make sure that Miles doesn't lock it down, maybe even doesn't lock it down in race number 2 tomorrow. He's going to try to make sure Miles has got to go to Portland to earn it at the finale weekend, although Miles, as we said, pretty much has this thing locked down. You can see from the visual, Matt Clark continues to get closer and closer. But it'll be a good finish coming across the line for D-Force Racing. As great drone shot coming through the corner here through the 16-17 combination. Here he comes. Kiko Porto back out. If he pulls the Jack Jeffers, he'll maybe let off a little bit here. Yep, just inside the line. Nicely done. And, folks, it'll be a D-Force 1-2 at USF Pro 2000. They'll be back to do it again tomorrow. But here on a Saturday, the winner at COTA, Kiko Porto, the Brazilian for D-Force Racing, winning the front end of the doubleheader at the Circuit of the Americas. Matt Clark, what a debut. And here's that side-by-side D-Force shot coming up the hill. Matt Clark in his debut finishing in second. Nikita Johnson in his debut as well in third. Two young USF 2000 superstars. Really impressive in their opening race in USF Pro 2000. Miles Rowe, your point leader. Critical markers on the calculations to be able to try to lock down that championship, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's sometime in Portland. It seems a bit like it's already locked and loaded for Miles Rowe, but you got to get the job done still. He finishes fourth ahead of Liram Zendelli. Ricardo Escoto in sixth. Jack William Miller in seventh. Francesco Pizzi eighth. Salvador de Alba ninth. And Frankie Mossman in his debut as well, rounding out the top 10. Let's cap things off with Jack Jeffers. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us in the booth. I appreciate the insight. What do you got to do tomorrow? Can you do anything different, or is it just getting back out there? It sounds like talking to you, you're happy with the race car you have.
Oh, I'm very happy for the race car. I'm excited for tomorrow because I know exactly what we're capable of, and I just have to do my job.
That's it. I love it when a driver says that, man. The car is where I need it to be. I have to do my job. Kiko Porto did exactly that, as did Matt Clark, but Kiko Porto coming home with, I had said he's won before. This is his first win on the season. He won last year, but the first victory on the season for Kiko Porto. He's got 5 podiums, 4 second-place finishes, and a third at Sebring. Again, a winner last year, as I had said, but this is that first win on the season. And for any young driver, you want to make sure you're banging out victories throughout your career. And another one for Kiko Porto, big time. And I'm telling you, I don't think I would be betting against Kiko tomorrow, although Matt Clark may have something to say about that. Time to go to Victory Lane, folks. Don't go anywhere. Those of you on the broadcast, when Kiko gets back, we'll get him up and do some Victory Lane interviews. Great job for Kiko Porto. We'll be back after this quick break. Time to go to Victory Lane. All right, folks, dialing things in here for both the PA microphone and our live broadcast. Again, set to go now for our podium for the first of 2 races in the USF Pro 2000 category, the Discount Tire Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix. We've got a number of guests from Discount Tire that are going to help me out here. But let's start by bringing in the driver. Coming home third place today. What a tremendous run in his debut in the category. Give it up for VRD Racing driver Nikita Johnson. Third place in his debut here. Marari Kalo will bring his third-place trophy in. Thank you, Marari. We appreciate that. Stay up there for a photo with Nikita. And, again, we watched him last year here in USF Juniors. It's been so tremendous in 2000 this year in the pro category. What a great debut for Nikita Johnson. Same goes for the driver coming home in second, last year's USF Juniors champion. He ends up finishing second in his debut in USF Pro. For the Canadian folks, hands together for D-Force driver Matt Clark. Ruben Sanchez, one of our guests from Discount Tire, going to help us out here. Thank you so much, Ruben, bringing that P2 trophy up here to Matt Clark, who was able to win in his opening weekend as well in USF 2000. We'll see whether or not he can grab a victory tomorrow, but a second-place finish, tremendous. But let's bring the driver out coming home with the victory. A huge run for him, his first win on the season, and really locking in his second place in points. D-Force finishes 1-2. The winner today, Kiko Porto. Kiko, let's have a quick chat here. You needed to win on the season, right? You wanted that victory, but, man, you guys came out of the gate so good here yesterday in the open test, and you drove a flawless race. Can you talk about it a bit?
Bro, I can explain how this blue car was fast, you know? Since the first practice, we showed the potential, even with Mac, first time the car, you know, and we were right there. First of all, I need to congrats Mac, and what he did was pretty impressive, and I'm pretty sure there's 2 rookies guys gonna represent a lot at Pro 2000 next year. But I want to thank all the blue team. You know, these guys are never stop believing. So I think is what motivates us, and especially thank David. I think these last 2 races are gonna be the last ones working with him, and he opened his arms when I show up first time 2018 for the team, and since there I'm just learning with these guys. And I want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, my family, and let's keep doing.
I'll say this. I talked about Mac a bit. Of course, the Canadian racing fans looking for a next star. Brazil's looking for a next IndyCar star as well. Are you that next guy that Brazil's going to be able to cheer for?
I hope so, man. I mean, I don't like to say all the time yes, because we never know the future.
Exactly.
But I would do my best, definitely, to this happen.
Congratulations, man. Is he the guy or what? I think so. Let's bring that Kiko Portal, folks. Like you said, moving on to the next series next year. And thank you, Jose Perez, one of our guests from Discount Tire, bringing that trophy out for Kiko, a former USF 2000 champion. He's won in USF 2000. He's won, of course, last year and this year now in the USF Pro 2000 category as well. We've seen him make the moves up into the Indy Next Series. So very impressive for Kiko Portal. And again, look at the as well. Look at this international field. We've got Brazil, Canada, and America on the podium here. I love to see that. And as Kiko pointed out, and very graciously and respectfully, we got two young guns here from USF 2000 who came up and put on a show here today in this USF Pro category. These are the two drivers we're going to see going after the championship, with many of those returnees in this category as well. Matt Clark and Nikita Johnson, most definitely drivers to watch in 2024. I can't wait to see that season get underway. Both these drivers, such talented and well-respected drivers within the paddock as well. Kiko Portal is going to come back and try to do it again, as we said, tomorrow, to go back-to-back here. A 70-point lead now in the championship for Miles Rose. So, again, Kiko trying to cut into that as much as he can every race he does. It's not over yet until we get to that final in Portland. So, again, watch for these two D-Force drivers to come out of the gate strong. Work their way up the ranks. Kiko's going to be making the move. All these drivers trying to work their way up. Take them up. Mac have had a chance to sample that scholarship. Of course, Kiko winning in USF 2000. Mac last year in USF Junior, so they were able to get the scholarship to come through. Guys, champagne is set to go. Remember, you're racing again tomorrow. Don't take care of those suits. Don't get them too dirty. Grip it and rip it, folks. Have some for USF Pro 2000. They're back at it to do it again tomorrow. Excited to cap things off today at the Circuit of the Americas in a very hot. Keep hydrating, because just like these drivers are doing, they'll be back on the racetrack again tomorrow. They race first thing tomorrow, USF Pro 2000. 2 races for US Juniors on the docket here for Sunday at the Circuit of the Americas. Thank you so much for tuning in on the live broadcast, either on the app or on the YouTube channel. We do appreciate it. Folks, on behalf of everybody from Anderson Promotions and Cooper Tires, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.